Hey everybody, I'm going to jump on here real quick a little bit early just to make sure my audio works. So if there's any audio issues, you can let me know ahead of time and I can make changes because I switched out my microphone. To try to get rid of that, like, oh, I only hear it in one ear, the mono thing. So I couldn't figure out what was wrong with my Focusrite. Had it set up for stereo, it was only doing mono. Hopefully this is providing stereo audio and not just mono. If that's the case, then it might be the software and I'll have to figure out a different software, video capture software going forward. But if the audio is good, then we're good and we can jump right in. Hello, Anthony. Howdy, everybody. Sweet. Audio's in both channels. Great. That's what the goal was meant to accomplish. All right. I don't have a ton. Trying to think. We're going to go over some new special release products that I've got to show off that came in over the last few days. I got a giveaway. We'll talk about just some random shop stuff in terms of like production update and stuff like that from a standpoint of potential like changes and stuff. So we'll just kind of get into stuff. I'll probably start with that first. So this whole last week, we didn't get a lot of stuff done in the shop because in order to run machines, you have to have an air compressor. You have to have compressed air. All of our machines require some form of compressed air to be run properly. And we own two air compressors. Both of them, and you have to have an air dryer because when you have an air compressor, it often puts water in the lines and you have to have a dryer between your air compressor and the end of the line. Otherwise, every time you go to like spray something off, could be water, in the air compressor line. So we have two air compressors and we have an air dryer and a couple other things in between there to regulate the air to the machines. Air dryer went out this week. And then I think one of the compressors had some issues with some seals and stuff like that. So, I think we were up and running for like half of the day on Monday. And then basically all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday, and most of the day on Thursday, we did not have anything running. The machines weren't running. Yeah, sorry, Ian, I started early, but we're just kind of going over some stuff, some production stuff. So you can get caught up pretty quick. So we didn't have any of the machines running. We didn't have any of the tumblers in the back running because they really require, when we tumble stuff, they need to be air dried immediately with high pressure air to get all the water off so we don't get any water spotting or corrosion from the water or anything like that. So losing a week right now in terms of production is kind of a big thing, especially when there's, only Bill and Josh kind of running the shop. So a week's worth of production is kind of a big thing for us right now. So we've kind of had to like shift stuff because of that, like they didn't tool up any of the machines. Like a bunch of the machines are switching between one program and another program to get ready for other pens. I think we have Vertex's part of the way down in there in the process of tearing a machine down and setting up for the other. I don't know if they did bodies. No, I think they did caps first. They're in the middle of tearing down from caps, and they're going to move over to bodies. And we've been doing a bunch of prototyping and stuff like that. We have a lot of contract work coming in right now. Well, we have a lot of contract work in the early days of potentially getting set up. So losing a whole week in terms of production is not optimal at this point in time. So really, they were able to get Bill ordered a bunch of the parts to fix the air dryer, and then interestingly enough, somebody was selling a used air compressor to replace one of the ones that we had go down, because one of ours went down completely and we need to replace it, because Bill likes to have a backup. That way if one goes down for maintenance, he can put the other one on. And so somebody was selling an air compressor it's an older air compressor, has a lot of hours on it, but Bill said that he spent more on the parts to fix the air dryer than he did on the other air compressor. So they spent all day Wednesday putting that in, and it was on for Thursday, but they didn't really get a lot of stuff done. So, having said that, like there's a little bit of next week's going to be, recovering from that and getting back into production. There's always, it always takes some time to get back into full swing of things whenever we have an outage like that causes us to stop running the machines, because the machines really do their best work when they're running nonstop. A lot of the machines that make pens can run, or are ideally designed to run without an operator, lights out. So as long as there's material in the bar feeder, it will make parts, and they function better when they're just running the program over and over and over and over again. And so the only time that we have to tweak those machines is if we're proving out a program, or we're doing some, we're figuring out the new grip pattern, or changing the way that the program runs, or something like that. So we're switching between materials sometimes, not sometimes, all the times when you switch between like aluminum and brass and copper, you kind of have to make sure that everything's running properly, change the feeds and the speeds. So there's a lot of stuff. So once that stuff's done, it's basically you load the material, you push the button, you turn it on, and ideally, unless there's a major problem with the program, or like a tooling breaks or something like that, it just makes parts until there's no more, until it reaches the end of the cycle, or there's no more material in the bar feeder. So for us to take like a whole week and kind of pause all of that completely, it's kind of a big thing for us, even though our production runs have shrunk significantly. It's still just like, it kind of throws everything off. So they're going to get back to production on Monday and get everything back up and running. I know Josh is tooling up for changing out different machines. So we're going to move to different machining pens. And then I know we're still going to be heavily prototyping stuff right now, multiple different things as time allows us, because we have so much contract work. All right, so that's kind of like the big update on that. What else did I want to touch on? We'll talk about the KBC. So if you guys saw the Karis Value channel, that's something that is not going to be a one-off. We're going to end up doing, or G and Tommy will end up doing the KVC a couple times a year, probably around pen shows that we don't attend that potentially would attend. So like, we're not going to be at St. Louis this year. And so we'll probably run a KVC like special during or around that same time. Maybe not during the same time frame, but around that same time. And potentially put up stuff that we would have had we gone to that show. We've gotten a lot of questions about the next show that we're going to because we missed the LA show. The next show we're going to be at the Baltimore Pen Show. So that is next month, I believe. So we're going to be at the Baltimore Pen Show. And then after that, we're going to be at Chicago. In previous statements, I've said that we're not going to be at Chicago because they had told us they were sold out. Didn't have any tables, but they ended up finding a spot for us. I think they had somebody drop out or they were able to squeeze us in somewhere, but we are going to be at Chicago. So the next two shows we're going to be at are Baltimore and Chicago. And I think I'm trying to remember who's going to those shows. Oh goodness, I don't know for sure who's going to those shows. I'm pretty sure Bill is going to the Chicago show, and I don't know who's slated to go to the Baltimore show for sure at this point in time. But those are the two next shows we're going to. We're not going to be in Atlanta this year, and we will likely do a KVC type event in April because that's usually when the Atlanta show is. So the next KVC is probably going to be sometime in April. Excuse me, I've got eyelash in my eye. In case you're wondering. And we're going to have new stuff for we'll definitely have some new things, some products that weren't on the last one. It's not we're just going to recycle stuff that we potentially didn't sell. I know that G said that a lot of the stuff, most of the stuff she was able to sell through that we did for that first KVC. But I'm sure that we'll have more like additional product that will potentially only curate for that type of a sale. So I'm putting together some more fountain pens to send out for Cerakote in really small quantities, like 4 or 5 colors that are going to be just for the KVC shows, inks and decographs, and then potentially some vertexes as well. That she'll have for those going forward. Along with, we'll have modals and EDKs and stuff like that. So, had some questions about Knox pens. We're going to have a fresh batch of Knox pens hitting the site pretty soon. No modals at this time. I don't know that we'll ever be able to do the modal in the Knox finish because when we tested it, it was just real delicate. It ends up just doesn't do well with the clip, the way that attaches there. So we're just focusing on, I gave him some fountain pens to do and some EDKs and some bolts. Those are going to be the main stuff that we get done in the Knox finish moving forward. So that's definitely how that's going to go for the foreseeable future until we can figure out a way to kind of protect that slot area that the clip has to go in. I don't know that we're going to have any modals with the Knox finish. We'll do other finishes for the copper and brass modals, distress finished of some kind. We're kind of testing out different things right now to kind of have an option that's not just the normal version. And we don't really have a lot of standard brass and copper versions of the modal as it is. But we do want to offer some more some of that kind of distressed finish on the heavier metals. We understand that the shipwreck stuff sells really well and people really like it. So we don't want to not have that as an option for the modals. We have to figure out something else besides that finish specifically. What was the next thing I was going to talk about? I'm not sure. So I'm going to go ahead and show off the new pens that we have. Oh, I'll go over this real quick. If you haven't completed the the form that's pinned at the top of the chat, please do that now. That's the giveaway. That's the form that we're going to use for the giveaway at the end of the live stream. I've got the pins right here. These two lovely bolts, Hive copper and a Hive brass bolt. Those are going to be the giveaways for this one. And then it's really easy this time. It's just, your email and your YouTube user handle. All right, let's see. So yeah, so complete the form that's pinned at the top of the chat. That way you can get entered to win. And I'll go ahead and switch now. I'm gonna change the screen up so you can see what we've got going on. So these are gonna be the next 4 of the next special release pens that we have like ready to go. I just got these back from the anodizer. We haven't done a lot of fountain pens recently besides the ink re-release. So so from left to right, we've got matte red with matte black finials on the Decograph. This is going to be fountain pen only. Does have, unscrew it here. Does have, I should have done this to begin with. Does have the matching red, matte red grip section in there. So we realized we hadn't done a lot of fountain pens recently. Figured we would put something like this out. These are going to be, I don't know what the pricing is on these. It's not, we're going to put them on special right away to kind of get them out of here. I have a lot of Decograph caps and bodies that have to be done in a matte finish or in Cerakote, just because they're not, the finish on them wasn't perfect, and the matte, tumbling them for a longer amount of time kind of roughens that up enough so I can do the matte anodized. So that's okay, Wendy. Don't worry about it. I can filter all that stuff out. So we wanted to do a fountain pen. I had a bunch of these, so we sent these out for the matte red. Haven't done a red Decograph in a long time. I think the last one that we did was potentially that anniversary set that we did. It's been several years with the box set. Then next to that, so just to the right of the Decograph, we've got this is hard anodized, type 3 hard in the natural finish, so it looks kind of grayish. It's not a finish that we use very often because it's kind of streaky and everything, but it's like really, it's the hardest anodized that you can get on a pen. It's only available in this natural color or in black. This is the natural version. We do it every once in a while just because there are enough people that ask for it. And then we paired it with the olive green anodized clip and button on there. That kind of, they look really good together, in my opinion. I think it's the best option for those two. Yes, that is the same finish the same color, that same anodize that we did on the cubes, on the hard anodized cubes. So it's the same thing. They might not match exactly because hard anodized is not a cosmetic finish. You just kind of get the color that you get from it. But that is the same color tone. And then in the vein of what we did with those blue concave bolts, that special release, this is violet, but this is a grip section. I'm going to attempt to zoom in on this grip section even further. So this purple grip section kind of looks like the concave, but it's not there. Oh, instead of a straight line, These are the purple bolt that has overlapping. It's kind of almost like a mini dragon skin or chainmail type design. It's very minute, but they're overlapping. It covers the whole section, so they wrap all the way around on that. Is it not focusing? There we go. So yeah, so it wraps all the way around on there. It's really cool. It actually feels really nice. I didn't think it would feel very good, but it is a nice. It is a very nice grip, and doesn't feel as weird as I thought it would. I was kind of skeptical in the beginning. I'm like, oh, this isn't going to feel very good. It's going to feel, it's not going to be very much different. So this is just one of the random finishes that Josh was doing for the grip profiles. I think he did actually quite a few of these. I think I've got like 150 of the grips that have this kind of overlapping scale mail type thing on it. That's funny. You're not the only one that does that. I frequently will be like, oh, what YouTube account am I even signed in on for this when I'm watching a live stream or even just a video? And then finally to the far right, we've got a matte red EDK with black. I realized not too long ago I posted a matte red fluted EDK, which was one of the first fluted EDKs or fluted pens we did, period. It might have been the first one, was the matte red color. And a lot of people asked about it. And even G here was like, oh man, we haven't had a really nice matte red EDK in a long time. And as soon as this is going to be the first EDK with, well, shoot, I think it's the first EDK dragon skin that we've actually done, like the first official, now that I think about it, I don't think we've ever had dragon skin EDKs before. We've had grooved and speed grooved, and a bunch of other grip sections, but we've never had. Oh no, we did the ultra black, didn't we? We did some ultra black EDKs, some ultra black dragon skin EDKs. So technically, this is the second one, but this is the first one that we've done in colors outside of that, outside of the ultra black that we did at the end of the year. Thinking off the top of my head. Yeah, that's it. So the dragon skins, I mean, they're not sharp at all. Like they don't dig into your skin at all. Like they're tumbled enough to the point where they don't like grip into your fingers or anything like that. It's really minor. Like you don't really notice it. It adds a little bit of a grip. I guess we have done dragon skin EDKs. It's been a while and I don't remember everything that we put out. So we have done dragon skin before EDKs. We've never done dragon skin pocket modals, and those are coming as well. So there will be pocket modals with the dragon skin grip available in the future. So that's kind of the next 4 like special releases that we've got in the hopper. I know there are some other things that are going to be first. This is just, so we teased the steampunk bolts and EDKs, and those will be actually the next stuff to officially hit the website. So if you saw the steampunk Cerakote, EDKs, and bolts got teased, I think, on Instagram and in the newsletter. Those are coming first before this stuff. And then we have another, I'm trying to think, we've got, I've got the next Pen Club exclusive already lined up, ready to go. So that'll be ready to go probably towards the end of next week. I can attempt to. I don't know if it's gonna. Let's go back to this. Let's switch back to here. Oh, no, that's not it. And see if it will focus. There we go. Oh. It keeps trying to focus. So I don't know if you can see that in there, Nick, or Retro. They're just kind of like side scallops, or I don't even know how you would say it. They're just overlapping, really tiny, similar to the concave ones, but they overlap. It feels really nice. I actually enjoy that. I enjoy that a lot better than the dragon skin. I don't know. I'm not the hugest fan of. I always think I'm gonna really like a grip section, and end up just using the smooth ones the most. Like, I don't know. There's something about it. I tend to the longer that I write, the tighter my grip gets. And whenever there's like stuff on the machining on the grip, when I'm gripping really hard, it ends up digging into my hands somehow. So like the dragon skin, my dragon skin titanium bolt was my favorite bolt for the longest time, and I don't have it anymore, but it was really nice. I enjoyed that one for whatever reason, just because I think the weight was better. But inevitably I'll switch back. Like I'll use one of the new, I'll pick out one of the new grip profiles and use it for a while just to test it, and then inevitably I'll just switch back to a smooth one. Just because it's like, I don't know, the smooth one's not slippery for me, and it just feels better. I'm weird like that. I don't know. Yeah, Mr. Perquito, we've done that in the past. And I don't know that we may do it in the future. I don't know. I'm not going to say that there's no way that we're going to do that. Again, it may be something that we do down the road. In fact, it might be something that we do relatively soon. I have a lot of random grips, or like random anodized parts laying around. And normally what we'll do with those is we'll just combine them on like one of the grab bags, or we'll do we'll make 50 pens and they'll have random parts just mix and matched, and we'll do like a grab bag for like $35 or something like that, just to sell through all that stuff. And we might just because inevitably what happens is like we have to have photos of all those things and then to put on the site, because people will be like, well, what color is it if you don't have photos of the grip and you just describe it? And that's just really time consuming, because they're not always going to be the same color, and every single batch is going to have some variance. So if we take a photo of like a purple grip section, we have 10 of them available, and then we have, and then the next batch that goes out to get purple comes back and they're slightly different, and they go and we ship them. Well, it's not the same color that was on the website. So it becomes a little bit more laborious. Becomes a little bit more. It becomes a lot more time consuming to the point where it ends up being something that we can't maintain all the time. But yeah, we have sold just grip sections in the past, and we may in the future. I don't know for sure. So let's see. Let me get caught up here and we can move on. Wendy, yes. I just sent out modals today. I just sent out 30 pens today. No, 45 different pens or 50 pens today for sunflower, and it was a mix of inks, modals, and EDKs maybe. So yeah, the sunflower is going to be on other stuff. We've sold through 2 batches of the sunflower EDKs or render Ks. I never expected that color to be popular. It is hugely popular, and so yeah, he took 45 or 50 pens today. So yeah. The grips are interchangeable between the modals and the bolts and the EDKs and pocket modals. So the modal and the standard bolt, the standard modal and the standard bolt use the same lower, and the pocket modal and the EDK use the same standard lower. So you can switch those grips out between those. So if you have a bolt, you can put it on your EDK. If you have a bolt, you can put it on your modal, and if you have an EDK, you can put it on your pocket modal. No bronze. We're not going to be working with bronze anytime soon. Like titanium and some of the more expensive materials, until we see a turnaround in the pen market, we are not going to be doing anything in materials that are a premium, that we've seen significantly, that we have direct evidence is that they're not economically viable right now, with the amount of investment that we have to put into manufacturing those products. It would be impossible for us. If we made 100 titanium pens right now, it would be impossible for us to sell 100 titanium pens and make that money back between now and the end of the year, just based off of current trends in the market that we're seeing. And that's true with bronze. It's true with any of the premium materials, just with our consumer base. Other manufacturers have a different, may have different luck with their super high-end pens. It's just not something that we can do. It's one of the reasons that we haven't fixed all the titanium pens that I have right now in stock. We have to fix all the uppers for those bolts. We just haven't fixed them because we'd have to sell them at such a high premium that we would not be able to sell them, unfortunately. That was Irvine, Little World Irvine. I fixed that on the sheet. Should be accessible by anybody now. I just had it set to it was off for a short period of time. It should be fine now. You should be able to fill it out. No, we have not done zirconium, Mikumi, or any of that stuff. We may prototype some parts, some pieces, like stuff like the buttons, the side buttons on the modal. Like we may on some scrap. We have a vendor that might give us some zirconium scrap that will, or I think it's Makume scrap that we might do on just the buttons, but that's a maybe. It depends on whether or not he gives us any of the scrap. So I mentioned you guys anytime someone asks when the comment answer in the comments is tactile. No, copper is not in that same group. Like copper is still relatively, I mean, it's still more expensive than brass and aluminum, but the problem with doing copper with the modal is that we still have not nailed down a way to get the clip on there. We did some copper modals already, and we will make more copper modals. That's not gonna, that pen will have a copper version. So yeah, so we will make copper modals again in the future. They'll just not have copper grips or copper clips on them. The clips will be aluminum and brass. But yeah, we're not going to go away from copper. Copper still sells at a decent premium. So, oh, you sent a request to buy a pen. Gotcha. I'll look through my emails and get back to you. I've had a ton of work to do, and then I had a bunch of people stop by, so I will I'll look through my emails before I leave for the day and make sure I respond to anything that's hot on my desk right now. Do you remove items from the Pen Club spreadsheet when they're sold out? Yes. So the Pen Club spreadsheet gets, so when somebody purchases and it's the purchase goes through, the items are removed from the spreadsheet. If the payment has not been processed, they're just like marked in red. I just highlight them in red. So that's kind of, there's at the top, there's a key on the right-hand side that tells you what all the highlighting is. If they're highlighted red, that means somebody's in the process of, I'm just waiting for payment to be processed. But yeah, everything that's on there right now should be available. Yeah, I covered that earlier, Mr. Barquito. I do not foresee us being able to figure out how to do the Knox pen, a modal Knox modal version in large quantities. We did a few of them, just to test if the process could be done, and like half of the ones that we gave him ended up being non-functional because the clip would not. The clip area is so precise that if it gets any kind of etching in there, what holds it in, that T-slot, it makes it so that the clip never stays flush on there, and it wobbles around and ends up pulling loose or rounding that out, and it's basically unusable. So I understand that titanium is extremely, is still a stuff that a lot of people like want us to make. I realize that. We post the Pen Club spreadsheet like once a month in the emails, and then it's also available in the Facebook group, so in the Pen Club Facebook group. So if you're a member of the Pen Club and you have access to the Facebook group, it'll be in there. Otherwise, I usually send it out once a month in the emails. I guess since we're going straight into Q&A, we'll just keep going on Q&As. But yeah, like speaking about the titanium stuff, I understand that people still like will purchase titanium. It's just the investment to buy the titanium, we would sell, to all of you that purchase those would buy them, but inevitably it would not be like, to meet our minimums and get the titanium that we have to get. So it's just one of those things that right now is just not something that we're investing the capital in. We're doing prototyping on other products. When will we see this new product that you teased? It's so funny. Um, I don't know. The answer to that question is I don't know. So Brian, there's a bunch of different things that are going into into this new product. Um, one of the things, so one of the things, here's how I'm going to talk about the basic. The basic is a new pen idea that we're coming up with that basically is a return to the fundamentals of the brand when we got into making pens. And it was, let's make, at the time when the Render K came out, the idea was there was a Kickstarter that went up for the pen type A. If you've been around long enough in the EDC and pen community specifically, you remember the pen type A. The pen type A, was a very basic pen that was just kind of a bar stock of a pen. And so it was, and we were like, we could make pens and make them have some form and design and not look just like a raw bar piece of brass or copper. Give it some form and function while also, maximizing the function of what we could do back then. And we came up with the Render K, and pricing in the market had not been set yet in terms of like what machined pens in aluminum, brass, and copper were priced at. Was not, we and CW&T and like were the first two companies that basically set pricing at the time in terms of like, this is what an aluminum pen that's machined is going to cost, and this is what a brass pen that is machined is going to cost. And for the most part, most other companies that have kind of gotten into this community after our Kickstarter have followed those pricing structures. We've increased what we can do in terms of the manufacturing and how complex our pens are, and how what the time that we do longer programs that require more machining, like more machining time. The modal, like the upper portion of this, takes much longer and is vastly more intricate than the initial program that we used for the Render K. So the idea for the basic is basically the idea is to kind of return to this the what got us into making pens. We want to make something that is a fundamental design at its most basic level of making a pen that doesn't just look like a piece of garbage, and it functions, it works, but it's made to be machined quickly and sold at a completely different tier of what we've been selling recently, of what the market has gone to. So over time, we've increased our pricing because inflation and everything. So the price of our pens has gone up significantly. When we launched our first Kickstarter, a Render Key was like $40 or $45 in aluminum. When we discontinued the Render K, like we were selling those at $70, so nearly twice. It had almost doubled since 2012. And the whole idea behind the basic is, can we make a pen that we can sell at a low enough price but maintains the durability of a pen? So like, what's the design that we can land on that allows us to sell like an entry-level pen? And so with that, it's going to not just be we're building a completely different website. We're building a completely different brand. We're building a completely different mode of selling that product and method. So we're going to be making it. We're not going to hide the fact that we make it. We're going to attempt to bring people into the pen community that potentially would never purchase a pen like this based off of our pricing structure. They're all going to be made here. We're not going, but we're going to compete with pricing of companies that have all their product machined in Taiwan and China. So it's a totally different mindset. They're American made in our shop on the same machines that make the bolts and the modals and everything like that, but they're going to be significantly priced at a much more aggressive standpoint based off of how we've designed them and how they're going to function and how they're going to look. So that's kind of, I'm in the process of building this website. I'm in the process of I've set up a Facebook page for it. We're getting an Instagram set up for it. We've designed in CAD the pen itself. We prototyped the pen. And this is based off of a lot of the feedback that we've gotten the last 3 years that continues to revolve around the main focus of what drives people to finally make a purchase, like what convinces you to finally make a purchase. And most people say that your products are too expensive. I love what you're making. I wish I could afford them, but I just can't. So this is a step back even from that to be like, okay, can we make something that potentially would bring in a group of people that would want to buy from us that can't? So that's what I can say now. We have like 3 physical prototypes. We're still nailing down the way that they look and some of the pieces on whether or not we're going to machine a few of the pieces or whether we're going to buy parts in terms of like screws and stuff like that, or whether we're going to machine them or make them. Otherwise, we're not that far away from actually moving to market on it. All right, so let me scroll back through. I'm going to try to get to everybody's comments. Like today, we might go much farther than 4 p.m. because this is kind of I can't go. I'm not going to go into everything. I'll talk about the basic as much as I can, but there are other questions that people had, and I want to make sure that I get to everybody else's questions. We can circle back around the basic towards the end. So let me look at what other people are asking about, because there are a lot of other questions I missed. If you don't, so here's the thing, if you don't have Facebook and you haven't gotten an email with the spreadsheet in it, send me an email at paul@karascustoms.com. And if you're a member, I'll double check that you're a member of the Pen Club, and then I'll make sure that you get a copy of the spreadsheet that we're talking about. That way you can have that. And I'll make sure to include it in next week's Pen Club email as well. All right, let's see. I've scrolled back, so you guys, I'm scrolling. Nick said, how of a pen is the ULT? Hopefully you maybe reworded that later on. Are you still working, Nick S., are you still working on a Vertex similar but with a clip? I have 4 decorations and ink and I want a Vertex but a clip my pens to a shirt. We still have multiple different prototypes in the works on a couple different fountain pen ideas. They've kind of been moved a little bit due to us pushing forward the basic, but they haven't been stopped or even paused completely. They're just a minor pause. Just a minor pause in time so that we work on this project that we really want to push out. If not before Q1 ends, then in the beginning of Q2. Knives have been completely paused at this time because of the just the amount of R&D, the cost of the R&D we initially put into them, like, and without even having a single physical prototype, we put thousands and thousands and multiple thousands of dollars into prototyping knives. So we just had to pause that for the short term. Ian, I think I missed the date, but when is the Carlo? I didn't specify a date. It's going to be next week at the earliest, but likely I haven't even shot photos. We haven't assembled all of them. So likely everything that was pictured today is going to be like the first week of March at the earliest. Northern Lights with brass button clip, Ultim slider. We will probably do Northern Lights stuff, Blake, with brass in the future. Part of the reason that we didn't do them on this last one is I didn't have brass clips that would fit on those pens. So that's kind of the reason. All right. Let's see. Low band. Whoa. David Page, your pricing structure is not high compared to other companies. I don't know why you. David, here's the thing. We're just going off of feedback that we have received from multiple different places. Like, we've had several different feedback forms that we've sent out. We've had hundreds and thousands of people comment on them that have said that pricing is a big thing when it comes to actually purchasing stuff. We've had pen reviewers in the past question our pricing, specifically question our pricing when they've been shown a pen of ours, not even given a pen. Like, they didn't even have it was just a picture of a pen, specifically one very large pen reviewer that we never worked with, but had or still has a very big presence in the fountain pen community, specifically question our pricing on a product that we released. And then just in terms of the market, currently we're just seeing a significant retraction in terms of like where pricing is at, like what people want to purchase. So it's based off of a lot of different things, but like, I don't think that our pens are underpriced for the quality that we manufacture them. I've never thought that they're priced under the market significantly. But it's just one of those things that it's a compilation of feedback that we've gotten that says, not specifically even that our stuff is priced too high. A lot of it is just, I would like to buy your product, but I just don't have that amount of money. So it's not just that it's too high in terms of like quality. It's just, it's too high for a group of people that exist in the pen community that buy pens. We just don't have a product that is priced for them. And that's always been something that we've attempted to do, is to provide a product that is what we would call an entry-level product. We've tried multiple times to get that product. And so this is going to be the latest attempt to get a product at entry level. Like, this is a product that we would never sell at wholesale, that we likely will never run any kind of sales on or something. Like, it's going to be priced so extremely competitive, like so competitively that we're pricing it as low as we possibly can. Okay, let's see. So I don't want it to be construed that I'm saying that like everybody thinks our pricing is too high. There have been specific instances where people have questioned our pricing, but then a lot of the feedback has just been, I'm in the pen community. I just tend to purchase pens that are, not machine pens, but are potentially within the $10 to $30. Like, I use fountain pens and I use TWSBI Ecos, or I use Platinum, the Platinum the Preppies or whatever, like stuff like that. So it's a significant lower price than ours. Where did the idea for the KBC come from? G came up with that idea. She was just like, hey, we've tried to do like live stream sales before, like a long time ago, like sell live on Instagram or whatever. And she literally was watching the QVC channel and was like, hey, we should do something like this. And so they basically came up with the idea for the KVC. Her and Tommy did, and they went out north into the woods and shot that whole thing because they have a cabin up there that they go to on the weekends. And so we'll do more of those, with some of the one-offs, some of the stuff that they would normally take to pen shows. And part of it was that we weren't able to secure a table at Los Angeles or at the California Pen Show, and so that's why they wanted to go ahead and host this. So. Knife scales, we've talked about doing knife accessories. I just don't know if that's something that we're going to get into. We might. You never know. The battle worn boxes are they're sold out currently. I will probably have some more available next month. So I think I have one or two pens left, but we took them down marked them as sold out because I don't want to oversell them and not have any, but we should have some more available next month. So. Slow says, what would you say the best selling model is currently? I would say over the course of our entire company, the Bolt is the best selling pen we have ever made. We've sold more bolts on a year outside of custom orders where we sold 1,000 EDKs one year just to one company that bought 1,000 special versions. Direct to customer sales, the Bolt is the best selling pen. We've sold more bolts than we've sold any other pen. And in some cases, we've probably sold more bolts than we've sold EDKs and retracts combined. So it is, but currently the best selling pen. And it could just be a function of it being new, or it could be a function of it being where we were out of stock of other pens for a long time. The Modal right now is the pen that we sell the most of. And then fountain pens are a completely different thing. I think the Ink and the Vertex are probably neck and neck in terms of legacy sales, even though the Vertex is significantly newer. We've sold a ton of Vertexes when we had them available. And so I'm anxious to get those back in stock because they sell so well, and we're going to be adjusting pricing on those and stuff like that. So I would like to have them back so that we could get them back up on the site, because people really like that pen, which I completely understand. It's my favorite fountain pen, but dumb question is the reason why one of my modals is harder to click than the other. Is it different in springs used? It could be that the spring is they put the wrong spring in it. Or sometimes springs get doubled up, and so there could be two springs on top of one another and we just didn't catch it. There is also a difference between the standard modal and the pocket modal. The spring tension on those two pens is completely different. We tried to get them the same, but we had to have custom springs made. Well, all of our springs are technically custom made. We had to have springs made specifically for the pocket modal. We couldn't use off-the-shelf springs for those, off the shelf, in terms of what we currently offer. It can't use the EDK springs, that they have way too much tension. And so we had to have a shorter spring made for the pocket modal, whereas the modal and the Bolt use the exact same spring. and they use the same spring as the retract as well. So it could just be that. Like, it's also possible that the inside didn't get drilled right. So there could be like potentially a problem with that. I would check this. I would take them both apart and make sure that they have the only one spring in there. Refill can also cause a difference, like depending on if one has like a G2 and the other one has Parker set up, like that can cause a difference. So you might just want to take them apart, look at them. David, the Bold is the best pen. I mean, to be honest with you, David, like we can't take credit for that design. We adapted that design based off of like the old style bolt kit pins that manufacturers were making. Like bolt pins have been around for a while. I know there was a Chinese manufacturer that made the side version with a big old like round marble looking thing on the side a long time ago. So that was just one of the things that we just adapted it and put the knob on the top to make it more like a regular click pen. But yeah, it's still super popular. Pricing up or down. In terms of like the basic, the pricing is going to be is lower than the pricing of our current pens. Again, we're setting up. If you do a little bit of snooping on Facebook specifically, you can find the page that is live that is going to be where we sell the basic and the brand that we're going to sell that under, and we're going to be building out a website based off of that brand that hosts the basic and potentially multiple other products in the form of what we've decided, what basically is like what we're basically calling redefining the fundamental everyday carry pen. It's kind of like the loose definition of the loose motto of that we're going forward with that. So, on the Vertex, so the Vertex was priced initially. Most of the Vertexes were priced initially at $150 with the metal box, and then as time went on, we got better at making them. We reduced the price down to $130 with the metal box. We're not going to have the metal box going forward, and pricing on the resin versions will be somewhere between $80 and $100 in just a standard cardboard box. And every once in a while, we'll have some metal boxes available for potential, we'll do fewer special editions that have a box assigned to them. We'll still have some of the boxes, but they're going to be few and far between. So the pricing on the Vertexes should come down for the resin Vertexes should be somewhere between $80 and $100, sometimes up to $120 based off the cost of the material. We have some materials that are just significantly more expensive, like some of the premier European resins that we get are way more expensive than the standard European resins. So they're going to fluctuate in between that $80 to $100 mark for the most part, and then potentially go all the way up to $120 on some of the more expensive stuff. Like if we ever do another collaboration with Jonathan Brooks, it's not just that his stuff is more expensive. Like there is also he does sell his product, his rods at a higher price. There's more time that we have to put into machining those. And then it's just kind of like, we don't want to devalue his any products that would have his material be used in them. So those would be kind of at the more premium price. If we do another Jonathan Brooks Vertex, it would be like that 120 to 150 mark, just because that's like his pens bring in that kind of premium, and it, as they should. Okay. Have you considered making a retractable or bolt style fountain pen? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen in the short term. It's just we get asked that frequently, and it is out of our ability to do internally, and sourcing the components, or having a nib unit made like the ones that are used in the pilots and all these new ones that are hitting the market. They all are very similar in terms of that nib unit that they use that came out in the Vanishing Point. And that's we don't have the capability to make that. And so making something that's not that, even if you disassemble a Lamy 2000 or the Lamy one, it has a smaller nib and there's a unit that's all attached to it. So there's a lot of like complicated mechanisms that go into that, in just the nib portion of it. We've been asked to make what is the old style called? The safety pen style, which has technically a retractable nib, by a third party, and we never moved forward with that project because they decided not to move forward with it, and so it's just not going to happen in the short term. We would need to see a massive influx of revenue to invest in that kind of R&D, unfortunately. So. Like I said, Mara, we're not getting rid of the metal boxes altogether. We're just going to be more selective with them. They take a lot of time. One of the reasons we haven't had them in a long time is because the machine that we make them on, has been making other products like nonstop for the past like 18 months, contract job, millwork. So I'm not saying we're never going to do them again. It's just going to be in much more like actual limited editions. We'll have those instead of just the special editions too. And a lot of people said, oh, I have these boxes and they just sit on the shelf and I don't know what to do with them, and they take up a ton of space. And there was people that had like 40 of them, and that's like a lot. So. Cerakote Vertexes, yes, we should have some of those. I said that earlier, you might have missed it, but yeah, I do have some Vertexes that we're probably going to be sent out for Cerakote in the next like month and a half. Yeah, that's the old Mont Blanc with the twist mechanism is technically a safety pen. It's that style of pen where it retracts down into the body. There are a lot of things that you have to take into account when you have that style of pen. So we were approached by someone to make a product to make their pen that was that function, and that project just never like took off. Yeah, we've tried to do a bunch of different non-traditional advertising. We've tried advertising on Facebook. We've tried paid advertising on Google and all the other social media platforms. We've done partnerships with reviewers before and stuff like that. So, it is what it is. Like, we're always going to try. We have an ad budget and we don't ever use all of it, and we'll continue to do advertising where it makes sense. So, it's one of the things that happens. All right, so that's kind of where we're at. We're shortly over 4 o'clock. Please, if you haven't, fill out the form that's pinned to the top of the chat. Please fill that out, because I want you to be entered into the giveaway. Looks like most everybody's in there. Retro when we have more B stock items. B stock items are basically like Cerakote. So we had some Cerakote pens that were on there that had like little flaws, like little bubbles in the Cerakote where like too much had been applied and stuff like that. Or there were like vertexes that had scratches on them that we couldn't get out or stuff like that. So they're functional, but they had mainly B stock stuff are functional pens that have cosmetic flaws. I just don't have any of them right now. So if that is the case, if we do, if when we have some more available, like enough that I can put up a whole page dedicated to them, I'll have some more up. So I don't I'll have to look if we have any pry bars. I actually might have 4 or 5 pry bars left, but I'm gonna let you know they're the titanium ones and they're all if I have any left, they're all anodized like purple or like really purple leaning blue. Again, I'm going to try to add product once a month to the spreadsheet. So sometime in the mid-March-ish timeframe, I'll add a bunch more product. Well, I'll add more product. I don't know how much it will be. It just depends on how much I have to add. But I will add product again in March to the spreadsheet. Yeah, I get it. A lot of people don't like, a lot of fountain pen users don't like refills. I understand it from being a person who likes fountain pens. But, I've come to enjoy specific refill types that replicate the writing experience of a fountain pen. So we just have to have the machine time to get more cubes in. Honestly, that's the biggest thing that we have that's holding us back right now. Like we have because there has been a slowdown in the pen market, we have increased the amount of contract jobs that we actually take on. So we have a lot of contract work in automotive and some other industries right now that we would not necessarily have taken on in the past when things were really, really busy. And most of them require mills. And so our mills are doing all of that work instead of doing cubes and vertex boxes. So we'll have to have some of that stuff like some time in between to do more cubes, but we do have plans on doing more cubes. Yeah, so that's what it is. There's going to be different. Yes, you answered your question. I wondered if it wasn't that. Like the Parker style in a standard modal is going to have a significantly different spring tension than the G2 spring. So we're still making a lot of VW parts. We just got approached by a company to do potentially take on a big amount of work for them, custom VW parts. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's kind of up in the air. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and we're gonna do the giveaway. Let's see here. You're gonna have to give me some time. Instead of staring at my face here, you can stare at these pens. Oh, there's one missing. Where did I put it? Oh, I put it here. Make sure I put the right pen back down there. Okay. Sorry, I'm just going through the spreadsheet one last time. Woo. Talk among yourselves. This feels really awkward when I do stuff like this. All right, let's see. Let me grab everybody. Let me go here. Yes, I am a human. All right, let's see. We're going to randomize the list 5 times. 3, 4, 5. All right, here we go. Winner, winners, winner, winners. Okay, winner number 1 is, if I can find it on here. I took the wrong, all right, let's see. Winner number 1 is CS Guy 2007 is your YouTube chat name. Winner number 2, Ian McDermott. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name, Ian. So CS Guy 2007 and Ian McDermott. If you guys want to shoot me an email, paul@karascustoms.com, I will with your shipping address, I will get your goodies out to you. Oops, I don't want to do that. All right. Let's come back to me. So refills that you're never going to get a refill that's exactly like a fountain pen because you're never going to get any line variation. You can't really like change the flow of ink or anything like that. I like Pilot Precise V5 and V7 refills because they feel like liquid ink as opposed to like a gel ink. I know they don't use liquid ink. I'm pretty sure, almost positive they use gel ink. But there's something with the way that they write that is much more, it has a writing experience that I would say is similar to a fountain pen. The other two that or the other one that I really like is the SRC 5888. It's a Schmidt refill. It's a Schmidt refill and it stands for like the SRC. So instead of using a steel ball bearing, it uses a ceramic ball bearing, and the flow rate, it's a much wetter pen. I think it uses liquid ink instead of gel ink. And, 'cause, 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 ' so it just writes really, really smooth, and it has a decent amount of ink flow. I always tell people to try the SRC 5888 first if they're fountain pen users, because it's wet. It feels wet is the best way that I can explain it. Using it actually feels like there's wetness, as opposed to just like, I know I'm writing and I can see the ink, but it doesn't really feel like that feeling of kind of there being a layer of liquid between the paper and what you're writing with. Because if you've never used a fountain pen, there is a noticeable feeling of something between the paper and your pen, and that doesn't necessarily translate with most gel pens. You get that you get that with the SRC 5088, I think, more than any other refill that I've come across. And it feels a little bit like that with the Pilot Precise V5 and V7s. The thing that I like about the Pilot Precise V5 and V7 is I think it has the best in terms of like pinpoint writing. Like if you're a person who likes really extra fine nibs, you want something really like small and tiny, but you know, there are technically tinier refills, but they always feel really scratchy. The Pilot Precise V5 seems like it lays down a really fine, precise line without any of the scratchiness that a lot of the slimmer like 0.38 refills have. So that's kind of why I prefer those two refills. We'll see. All right, so one final question: the magnetic pen holders you made last year. Magnetic pen holders. Oh, are those the round ones? They just hold one pen? If you're talking about those, I think those were just like a random one-off that we did. We might make those though in the future. So, okay, let's see. But yeah, if you're talking about that one, I think we just did those like as a kind of like just to see if we could do them. We might release them. I don't know. I'll have to see if we'd made enough of them to even sell. Like that would be fun to actually put those out. I think we're out of stock right now. We don't stock the Pilot Precise V5 and V7 just because I have to buy them off of Amazon. I can't even get them from our Pilot distributor. So when I buy them for our personal use, because Bill uses them too, I have to buy them off of Amazon. Our Pilot distributor does not sell them in bulk. And then we do have the SRC 5888s. I think we might be out of stock and we're waiting on a shipment right now. So. I'll try the juice again. I haven't used the juice ups in a while, but I'll have to try. I'll get some of those the next time I order some. What pen have I been clicking during the live stream? I have been clicking one of two basic prototypes that we have that have come off the machine. I shouldn't have been clicking it, but it's got a really click. I'm a fidgeter when we're on live, so that's what I'm clicking. Okay. The two people that won need to email me, Ian and CS Guy. Please email paul@karascustoms.com. I am not just taunting you. If if this was further down the road of a visual prototype, I would show them off to you. But right now it's not, and so I don't want to like show off the actual version. The version of the mock-up of the 3D mock-up that I've been, or it's a 2D mock-up, the CAD mock-up that I've been teasing in the Pen Club, slowly revealing over time, is definitely more of what the first version will look like. So the V5, the precise refills fit the bolt, and the standard size modal, they don't fit the EDK or the pocket modal. All right. Okay, I still have work to do after we close this down, so I need to get to more of my work, so we need to wrap it up. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it, all of you. It's more than likely that that the basic will be the thing that we talk about in the next live stream, in terms of like really focusing on and potentially like sharing more information about how we're going to sell those in the website, and potentials with pre-orders and a lot more information. So chances are that will be the theme of the March live stream. Will be much more basic focused, and then kind of rolling all of that ideas out. But it will be it will likely be a one-off, if that is, or there will be multiple live streams next month. One to go over the basic and one to focus on Keras product. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. We'll see you again next month. But I always appreciate your feedback. If you have other questions and concerns, don't hesitate to email me or the info account or G's email if you have that. Thank you so much for being here. There's a lot more of you here than there was last time. Seems like we're slowly getting bigger and bigger. Like it used to be like 30 people, and then it was like 35, and then it was like 40, and we were all the way up to like 55, 60 people at the same time on here. So I really appreciate, more and more people getting in on here. So thank you so much. Please enjoy the rest of your Friday. Have a safe weekend. And we'll see you again here next week, or next month in March. Probably a double session of live streams next month. Almost assuredly, we will do 2 live streams next month. So if not more than 2, just so we might do some random Facebook lives to show off some, to talk about some basic stuff. So, all right, thank you, everybody. I don't want to keep talking over myself, and so we're gonna shut it down. I appreciate everything. Be safe. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.